The name of the show is The Way to Go. My name is Alan Bendich. I'm going to be your host. We enjoyed Tammy Eason so much on the last episode that we asked her to come back again. She's a reality TV star and a realtor.
Yes.
And it's funny that both reality and realtor, they have like they almost sound like similar kind of words.
That's a good point. I never thought of that. Yeah.
Right. But it was you were such an interesting, we had such an interesting episode. You were a great guest.
Thanks, Alan. I appreciate it.
I really enjoyed it. And episodes seem to go like that.
It did.
It's amazing.
It went really fast.
And that usually, when it goes fast like that, that means it was a good episode. So
I had fun, so here I am, second show.
So I know we went over your reality TV stuff, which was really fascinating, and learning all about your sons, and we actually saw pictures of them shirtless and all this other stuff, which was just amazing. Now we're going to talk about you being this fantastic realtor. Now, how'd you get into?
So I never said I wanted to be a realtor. I actually have a degree in business, marketing, and computer science.
Oh, cool.
So I did that for like 10 years out of college.
Right.
And then I had Eddie, child number one, and I went back full time. And then I had Mitchell, my second son, and I went back. But it was just so much trying to be a full-time, 9-to-5 or career woman, shuffling the kids and stuff. So I took a layoff package, and I started working for a real estate company as a contractor, just to get away from the little babies, couple hours, independent contractor, teaching the older agents what Windows was, what was a mouse in the late 80s and 90s. And finally, after being Tech Tammy, that was my nickname, Tech Tammy, because I was a technology director for a real estate company. They're like, just take the test, take your real estate test. I'm like, no. So here I am 20 years later selling the American dream, and I love it. Like, it brings me so much joy, when I give those young buyers or, sellers and sell their home and give them the new keys. It's really a great experience.
So, I mean, I've always been on the receiving end of these kind of transactions rather than the person making the transaction. So you get a property, right?
Yes.
And you get, you're showing it to people.
Right.
Do you communicate the same way with different people? I mean, or do you like gear the deal making?
I think, because everybody can be a buyer from 18 all the way up to, I've had buyers that are in their 70s. Right. So I think what is different with technology is the communication.
Okay.
With the people my age and older, they prefer a phone call.
Right.
With these little young buyers in their 20s and 30s, they don't want to talk to you. They want to go on the internet. Right. They want you to text. They're all busy, and I will send, contracts electronically now via over the laptop. So half the time, these young kids, I don't even have to meet them. I can sign contracts using a DocuSign.
So
but
it's
the
easier
older
for you
people,
now?
it's easier. It's become, with technology, has made our job so much easier.
But I would imagine also with technology, just like in film, with technology, you have more competition too, I would imagine.
It's true. It's true. Like, everybody in today knows like 5 or 6 realtors in their back pocket. Right. And half the time, before they even get to me, they're looking at houses on the internet. Because social media, you could do virtual tours, you could see every room of the house, and then they finally find someone in my township or my county and give me a call. But
so what differentiates you from the other realtors?
I think, well, number one is before I decided to be a realtor to supplement my big corporate income, because I gave up a really big job to stay home with my boys, what I did is actually started buying real estate. So I bought my first investment, then I bought my second investment.
Smart.
After the third one, they're like, Tammy, why don't you just get your license? You have 3 or 4 properties. Right. So because I was a real estate investor and building my portfolio, then I finally said, you know what? I'm paying all these real estate fees. Why don't I just become an agent myself? Right. So that, knowing and having that experience, now that opens up not only young kids, the older generation, but I do sell to investors who want to fix and flip and get in and make a quick buck, because I've done that.
I had a buddy who I worked with on Cagney and Lacey in the 80s who kept on taking classes about flipping.
Flipping, yeah.
Yeah. He never did it. He took a lot of classes, but he never did it. To take that step to actually do it, that must take a lot of courage.
It does. It does. I mean, I'm a strong, independent career woman. Right. So, hopefully, I think I've made some good decisions. Like, say, for example, in the late 80s, I bought a property for $150.
Right.
10 years later, I flipped it for 300. So that's doing a lot better than your 401k, especially.
Oh God, especially after today and this week.
Listen, if I can tell you guys one thing,
Right.
invest in real estate. You can't lose in real estate.
Right, and that's one thing. I mean, my wife still has her co-op of all things, but we have someone living there, and you know they're paying for it. You know, so we have that. Before we got married, she owned it, and we have our house in Larchmont. So it's, I mean, we were thinking a couple of times that we'd get rid of it, but you know, it's only appreciated in value.
Right.
And we have a tenant, so I mean, what more would you want?
If you have good tenants, like
we have
I
the same
had
tenant
tenants,
for 29 years.
That's good. That's a good thing. I'm the same way. I had one tenant for 20 years. I said, you know, you could have bought my house.
Right. That's it.
But he doesn't want to cut the grass. If something breaks, he calls us. Yeah.
We offered him, you know, if he wanted to purchase it, and he just continued to.
He paid
continues
hundreds
to
and hundreds of thousands
That's
to me
it.
in rent. I don't understand it, but hey, he was a great tenant.
Yeah, but it must be great. I mean, and also, I mean, you have to be positive, I guess. I mean, what's your technique?
You know what? It's you deal with a lot of different personalities.
Right.
So I feel like I have to sell the house like 8 times. You got to sell it to the buyer. You got to sell it to their parents, to the bank appraiser, to the home inspector guy, the termite guy, the radon guy. So I really think I sell the house 8 times before I actually get to the settlement table. So you're dealing with a lot of different personalities.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And each one gets paid, right? I mean,
right.
So
yeah.
I mean, what's that like?
So the home inspectors out there for a couple of hours, the termite guys, the radon guys, you know, the inspectors, and
do you have deals that ever fall through? I mean,
of course.
What's
that like? It's hard, you know, if it falls through for an inspection. But you know what? I just pick them back up and say, hey, okay, let's just jump back on the horse. Let's go out tomorrow and see some new houses.
So do you advertise your? Do you do advertisements, or how do people find out about you? Is it word of mouth?
It's mostly on social media. Gone are those days of newspaper and print where you used to buy ads and things like that.
Right. Or TV ads and nothing like that?
I have not done TV, but now with this reality thing, I might venture into that, you know? Like somebody said I'd be good on those HGTV shows, you know, property fix and flip or hosting or something like that.
Too.
Yeah. But now everything, you know, with Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, like I put all my houses on all those social medias, LinkedIn. I put pictures, I put videos, you know, so I do a lot of advertising on that.
And are all your properties in Pennsylvania that you?
Yes, I can only sell right now in Pennsylvania.
Right. Do you ever plan to expand, or is that?
Eventually, I wanted to. I have a shore house that I bought after flipping some property, so I might end up getting it in New Jersey. But you know, I go down there to relax and at the beach, so I don't know if I want to like pick up phone calls and be like, okay, you got to go show properties, get off the beach, because that's kind of my escape, you know.
Are they basically homes, or do you do multi-dwelling?
I do homes and I do multifamily, like investors that want triplexes and quads. I do not venture into commercial. That's not my thing.
That's
a whole different ball game.
Right.
Yeah.
That's and I know, like I had a friend who was into commercial. He was a doctor and he had tons of money. So it was like, and he, you know, I mean, so his kids now. I mean, he passed away at 46, but because of the commercial properties, his kids, you know, one son's
probably set.
Lamborghini, one of the kids has.
Oh,
you know, it's like property is amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're set for sure.
Right, especially like he bought New York property when the market was really down.
Yeah,
and,
good for him. Good move. Yes.
Like Tribeca now, forget it, right? I mean, this is crazy. So what areas do you sell? What part of Pennsylvania?
Mostly it's a little town, Conshohocken. A lot of people can't spell it. You should have seen that on our Netflix show. They're like Conshohocken or whatever. Plymouth Meeting, King of Prussia, Norristown. Usually Montgomery County, Bucks County. I'll go into Philadelphia a little bit.
Well, Bucks County, I know. I mean, that's a pretty wealthy.
Yes, very nice area. Yeah, I like Bucks County, Montgomery County, Philadelphia. Yeah.
So how many property? I mean, maybe I'm asking too many questions, but do you do a lot of selling? Or?
I do, and you know, this year was a little slow because I had to take a break, and, you know, to travel and do some TV
UK,
stuff.
Right?
Yeah. So now I'm ready, full force. The spring market's here, and what's happening with the economy? Like I keep telling people, not, you know, hey, don't look at your 401k.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Just if you got money, you cannot lose with real estate.
Right.
You know, it's a great investment in your portfolio.
Right. They're not making any more.
Yeah, I'm so glad mine's not in the market because all my equity is in my homes.
That's fantastic. But the market, even though it's down now, if you look at the timeline, the market has a tendency to always go up eventually.
right,
So,
right.
I mean, this is a dip, a major dip.
But for the buyers, these mortgage rates are insane.
Right.
You know, we're at 3.5%. It's crazy, you know?
And you might even be able to get less than that, right? I mean, at this point,
it
it's
depends
crazy.
on the lender, yeah.
It's nuts. So, God, I remember our mortgage rate was like 5.5% or 6% when we got our house. So it's really
I
great.
remember my parents, I think, were like 10, 11%.
Right, I remember my
you know,
parents,
yeah.
but also my parents' house cost $15,000. So,
Right.
so it was
Nothing like that today.
Right. So, I don't know. Maybe let's talk about your charity work now, if that's okay.
Yes.
Because I had stopped. I couldn't think of anything else to talk about. Really, realtor work.
That's one of my passions.
Right.
That brings me so much joy. If I could quit my career and be a full-time philanthropist, I would. Right. That's how much passion I have for these kids. I do a lot with local food banks. Right. You'd be surprised, even in my own little town, like we have a food bank set up where anybody can donate food. So my company, Caldwell Banker's big on that. Right. They come in. No questions asked. You take your groceries, you take a bag, and you feed your family, and you leave.
So there are poor people where
There are, yeah. They're actually in every town. It's just, I think it's just kind of like a secret.
Do you guys have homeless as well, or no?
Not homeless, more just like some families are just struggling. Do they pay their heat bill, or do they feed their kids? Right. You know, so they can walk into this little food bank.
Ashamed? Do they feel ashamed of that?
You know what? We don't ask any questions. I think they just need the help, and it's not like they're there all the time. They're going through a rough time. You know what I mean? Right. So that's one charity because that's right in my hometown.
And what is it called again?
It's called the Conshohocken Colonial Council, and it's set up with just all dry foods and stuff like that.
How great do you feel when they come?
I feel really good. And one town over in Norristown, we help feed the homeless. Like, I don't want to see anybody go hungry. It just breaks my heart.
It's hard to believe in such, I mean, the amount of waste of food that this country has, and then you have people that have no food. I mean, to me, it's like, how crazy is that?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and the other thing that I do probably 4 or 5 times a year, mostly towards the holidays, is with the kids. Like, there are so many, like, I'm very blessed. I have 2 healthy boys, but there are so many families out there where these kids, you know, they have cancer, they have leukemia, they're going through chemo, they're going through radiation. So I do a lot of toy drives. I do a big one with the DePaul family at Christmas time. We might have a clip on that later, where truckers and truckers of toys, I'm talking big dump trucks, we will fill and visit 3 or 4 local hospitals and CHOP, St. Christopher Shriners. And you'd be surprised that one little toy could just put a smile on their face. You know what I mean?
I know.
Additionally, in Philadelphia, another one is the Ronald McDonald House, where these kids are at CHOP. They're there, Alan, for like 6, 7 months. Like, these parents have to quit their jobs. They have to move across the country. They live at this Ronald McDonald House. They don't pay any fee.
Well, that's wonderful.
And we will cook them breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's all volunteer. And sometimes the kids are too sick, so we can't meet them, but we'll feed their mom and dad so they don't have to, you know, eat fast food. But when a parent takes your hand rather than the toy and says, "Can you pray for my son? He's going through chemo." Like, I just want to cry.
So how did you become such a good person?
You know,
God, I'm not used to this. No.
You know what? You know what? I just feel in my life I'm just so blessed. Like, God has just blessed me.
Well, you have
I'm
beautiful
able,
sons.
and you know what? Both of them volunteer with me. Mitchell's big on the food drive and the homeless drive and the one for Toys for Tots that we go down the city. Eddie, anything I ask them to do, carrying food, buying toys.
That's wonderful.
They're just so humble, so giving. So I think I passed that on to them. But I just feel that God has blessed me, and I want to pay it forward.
Right, and you've done work with the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation.
Yes, we have a big one coming up.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm very familiar with that. I used to be their director of I was their acting CFO of the CCFA, which is Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America. When it hits, you know, juveniles, and, I mean, it's terrible when it hits older people, but I mean, when it's, you know, the skeletal damage, it's, you know, they don't grow properly. I mean, it's just a terrible, terrible disease.
Yeah, Sammy, who's on the show,
yes.
She was the fan favorite. She actually grew up in Delaware County. So she's coming in, she's flying in, and we're doing a benefit for her little brother. Right. So everybody from Netflix that was on the show, we're going to do like a little meet and greet, and then we're selling tickets and stuff for her little brother has it. So
it's wonderful, giving back and all this stuff. I mean, I should do more of it.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
You know what? I love talking to the kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like visiting the hospitals
And you worked
when they're
at St.
not
Jude's
sick.
as well, right?
We do. I did a charity event at FAO Schwartz with some people. There was like a charity fashion show.
And that's where you met JT,
That's where I met JT.
which is our connection over
yes,
here.
Thank you, JT.
We love you, JT.
We do love you, yes.
Get well soon.
Yeah,
Okay.
so there was at FAO Schwartz in Manhattan,
Right.
and there were lots of designers there. So they asked my son Eddie from the show,
Right.
hey, will you model for us? So he has a little print and commercial work, so he was modeling for one of the designers, so Mom got to go.
Right.
And that's how I did meet JT, and
Right.
we raised a lot of money for St. Jude's.
Okay, maybe we could show a couple of clips.
Sure,
of,
absolutely.
That stuff. So, and some of the, if they're still.
Some happy stuff. With all the
Yeah.
negative in the world, let's
Right.
spread joy.
Okay, so let's enjoy. So what is this?
This is one of the toy drives going down to Children's Hospital. We're loading up some of the trucks, and we actually have a guy dressed as Santa that comes down with
How
us
wonderful.
to visit some of the kids in the rooms.
Who's
And
that guy on the left?
This is one boy. The guy on the left is my son Mitchell.
Look what a handsome young man,
yeah.
right?
And then there was one boy who we gave Xbox and a basketball, very, very sick. His mom brought him down to meet us. So we said go in all the trucks, pick
it's
whatever
wonderful,
you want.
but it's heartbreaking at the same time.
Right, it is heartbreaking, but you know what? I try not to tear up as much as I want to be strong.
Right.
This is for the Sunshine Foundation,
Yes.
which is similar to Make-A-Wish Foundation, where we grant kids trips to Disney World. So for $5,000, each kid can bring their entire family to Disney
that's
World.
wonderful.
So we raised $90,000 in less than 30 days. I will ask anybody for money. I am not shy.
I like it. I love it.
So with the Sunshine Foundation, like I said, it's similar to Make-A-Wish.
So for the Sunshine Foundation, do you actually work for the company, or you do this as
No,
volunteer
I just volunteer,
work? Right, okay.
volunteer. But I was tasked to raise money with a group of
And you did it.
volunteers, and I did it. $90,000 in 30
Congratulations.
days.
Because I work for a not-for-profit, it's difficult to make money.
It is hard to ask for money.
But
So we
except-
lit up the World Trade Center in yellow because their
that's
color is
beautiful.
yellow. So we had some connections there,
Yes.
and we raised money. You know, that night we ended up presenting a check.
Who's
for
that guy in the middle?
Look at there's JT. We love him. That was at the St. Jude's benefit.
He's a good guy.
Yeah,
He's
just
a really
couple
good guy.
months ago in New York City.
And who are those two guys?
The one on the
Well,
left
I
is
know
my
that-
son,
right.
Eddie,
Yes.
the Netflix star.
Right.
The one on the right is my good friend, Billy Frieda. He actually does some hosting, some book cover models, and some acting as well.
And who's that lady in the middle?
That lady all dressed up.
Who's that hottie?
Yeah. They actually asked me if I was one of the models.
Yeah, you look
but,
beautiful in that
Thank
picture.
you so much.
do.
I try.
And
I
what's
walk
this?
every day. You know what? That's just, I'm a positive person. You know what? Life is too short to surround yourself with negative people. Like, I
Absolutely.
can't stand it. Like, I'll walk away from people that are negative.
Right.
So I love to smile, as you can see.
Right.
So I'm not a victim. I choose my own happiness.
Right.
So that's how I am.
Well, you're very fortunate. And wait,
Oh, this is when we presented the $90,000 check
How
to
cool
some
is
of the
that?
kids, and we actually gave them the good news that they were going to Disney World.
and where was it? This was
This
on
was in
TV?
Plymouth Meeting Mall, Legoland. We got to build Legos with
Right.
them and make some projects and meet their parents and grandparents and build with the kids. And then at the end, we gave them a check for $90,000. So we sent 20 kids to Disney World.
So it's like you live what my father always talked about on this show, which is like life is good, right?
Life is good. Yes.
Life is good.
Life is good.
And you gotta be good to other people. I mean, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's
Yeah.
what you're doing. You're living, you're selling them good real estate and you're helping kids.
Yeah. I wish I could do it more, but at least I'm involved with 5 or 6 organizations throughout the
5
year.
or 6. At least, I'm sorry, it's only 5 or 6.
I wish I could do it full time.
If everyone did 5 or 6 organizations, this world would be a much better
Yeah,
place.
and it doesn't cost a lot of money.
Right.
Like even volunteering, like some nursing homes,
Right.
volunteering for the food bank. You can buy peanut butter and jelly and bread.
Right.
Even sometimes I give plasma and blood. That costs you $0.
Right.
And people need blood donations. They're very short in plasma and platelets. That could save a life. That costs you $0. There's so many ways to give back without giving money.
Right. My dad used to give blood.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like gave gallons. He used to get these
Yeah.
things, these little whatever they're called, like badges of how many
Yeah.
much blood. But and my wife, would visit her mother's best friend who lived in a nursing home in this area.
Yes.
And the same thing, we'd visit my father, and most of the people where my father lives, no one visits them.
Exactly.
And these are old people who gave their lives to their children, who they're not going to be around much longer.
Alan, I agree with you. I worked at a nursing home.
So
So during the holidays, I would serve them food as a volunteer, they had no visitors. So you know what? I would put the tray down, even sitting with them for 10 or 15 minutes or reading them a book.
They're
It
so
was so
appreciative.
sad. Like, where are their kids?
See, and my son, who's a cool kid, he goes to my father every Saturday and Sunday. But I visit my family. Like, everyone looks at us like, why are you always coming here? Because no one ever comes, you know. And
Yeah,
it's terrible.
it's
It breaks
really
your heart.
sad. It
It's like-
does.
I know.
You want to cry, but like even with working with the kids or the elderly, like I just try and hold back the tears because I just want to be strong for their moms as their kids are going through chemo and stuff like that.
It's
you
the
know,
worst.
they're
It's-
stuck in the hospitals for the holidays. So giving them a little toy at Christmas to see that smile for a half hour or whatever, you know.
I mean, it's God's work, you know,
Yeah.
basically.
And God has blessed me, and my sons are just amazing. They're just so supportive of mom.
And they seem so positive. I mean,
They are.
look so healthy.
They are.
You know, because so, you know, you're very blessed. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
that's it, because not everybody's so healthy.
Yeah, well, I'm a control freak, so they always gathered at my house. I was the cul-de-sac mom because then I can watch what they're doing. So there's like no drinking, no drugs.
Right.
You can see they work out 7 days
Oh, no,
a
they
week.
look healthy. They look really healthy.
We're a very goal-oriented family.
Right.
So
And do you think they'll be able? They'll probably be the same role models for their children that you taught them.
I hope so.
You
I
know?
hope so.
It's
in
tough out there, but you know, sometimes it's who you choose. You know, the mate that you choose going forward. But it's great.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
good. So what other things are you interested in? So this
a
is
little bit of that, yeah. Oh God, this has been a whirlwind year. Like, you know what? I just thought you're just never too old, anything.
Right.
So how many people could say at 53, they run a network show, they sell real estate, they volunteer. My son's for Mother's Day bought me a skydiving trip. So I jumped out of an airplane. Forget the flowers.
Right.
I jumped out of
I
the
would be
airplane.
so. We don't have a video.
Oh,
of that.
yeah. With Eddie and Mitchell, that was my Mother's Day gift.
Were you scared?
What a rush. No, they just threw me. There's nothing you could do. I was strapped to someone because I'm a novice one. So, but usually you could just see the whole world. Well, first you're dropping fast, but then when the parachute opens, you can see God's work and see the sun. It's amazing feeling.
And did you do that in Pennsylvania?
I did it in Pennsylvania on Mother's Day. I was like, you know what? That should be our tradition. Forget the flowers.
I don't know if I do it, but I know George W. Bush did it. George, the first Bush.
Yeah.
He would do that every year.
Oh, you should do it. It's a rush. It's a great feeling.
I don't know.
You're only falling for like 30 seconds.
My brother-in-law
fast.
has a single prop plane.
Oh, okay.
And he lives up in Massachusetts. And he took me for a flight, and he was just going down the coast like this, showing. He's like, look down there, and it's like my head was like that. I was like, you know, I started getting a little bit nauseous. I don't know if I could handle it, but I admire people who can do it. Are there any other things you do?
It's
that
an
are thrill?
adventure. No, this was you know. That was great. I walk a lot, you know, just to stay fit, for healthy, just like my sons, like 7 days a week, you know, rain, sleet, snow, shine. I'm out there every morning.
So, and you work out every day? Or?
Every day, 7 days a week.
What other work? What's your workout? I'm gonna ask.
I walk. I'm a walker.
Oh, that's it?
So yeah, I
And
walk
walking is
every
the best.
morning. Yeah, yeah.
Because it's good for your heart and all this other stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I got to stay healthy.
Right.
I have 2 young boys dependent on me, so.
I do the bike every morning.
Oh, do you? That's good, too.
For about 30 minutes. But the problem is I wake up like at the crack of dawn, and then it takes me an hour and a half to get to work. I don't know. I have to retire and just work out and do acting. That's what I got to do. That's my passion.
That sounds good to me.
That's my passion.
I like
can't
that
wait.
plan.
64 years old. I can't see myself working for more than a couple more years, and then just doing
And just
acting,
doing that. Yeah,
and
you
just
get
doing
up, have your
acting.
coffee, do your workout, do your
That's it.
auditions.
That's it. I would love it. It's
Your
so much fun.
breakdowns. Yeah.
That's it. It's wonderful. You should try it sometime.
I know. I don't know how many years I'm going to do real estate.
Right.
You know, it could be stressful at times, you know.
But I told you my father started acting at 98, so
Right.
it's like
It's never too late, yeah.
Right, it'd be fun. I always wanted to do a reality show. I did some game shows, but that was like the most, in quotes, real thing I ever did. But reality, it came around, I was too old for that stuff, I guess.
Yeah, it's a lot of young shows. I kept going to the producers. Can you do something for like 50? These kids got all these shows.
Well,
okay?
they are doing The Bachelor for.
Yeah, that's the first one.
Right.
All the other ones like Temptation Island, Love Island, they're all in their 20s. Bachelor, they got
That's going to be I don't
so
know.
many
It
shows.
should be interesting to see people in their 50s, whatever age they're going to be for the Bachelor. I'm kind of looking forward to it.
I want to see that. I might have to apply.
Right.
I'm single.
No, I think you do well on it. I would.
Yeah.
I would definitely think that you would do well on it. I don't know. So life is good.
Life is good. I'm blessed. You know, I know I showed you some of the things of us going down to. Did you show the one for us going down to children with the dump trucks? Like those are all truck drivers that volunteer their time.
Okay.
And
Do you have that?
like
do you have that? Do you have that picture back there in the control room?
There's one clip
Sean?
of us with the video going.
That is so
It
great.
was fun.
So some people make plans, but they never follow through.
Right.
And it seems like almost everything that you plan to do gets done. I mean,
I'm committed. I'm very focused, type A personality, with adventurous side.
right. No, but it's amazing. I mean, were you one of the people that started this project, or how did you?
This one was 3 young guys, actually, the DePaul brothers, who
Yes.
were very blessed. They work hard. Their parents, you know, were well-to-do and gave them everything. So they said, Mom and Dad,
Yes.
Instead of giving us presents, we want to donate the money you would spend to the kids at CHOP. And it just grew in 3 years from like 2 trucks to 4
So
trucks.
they were really good people.
They were really, really good guys, yeah. So they started it, and I just came on board with Mitchell because they were all friends just growing up. It's a
that's
small
wonderful.
town. So now it has grown to dump trucks. We actually shut down half of the Schuylkill Expressway in Philadelphia.
How do you stop from crying for happiness for this stuff?
Yeah, sometimes it does bring tears to my eyes,
Right.
you know.
It's-
But you know, just meeting with the kids and their families,
and
and
when the kids see the toys,
oh my God, they come in and see it. We're like, just pick a toy, you know, and they're hugging their teddy bears and whatever
and they
we
forget
have.
about it. But no, see, I guess also kids don't know. When my father was poor when he was growing up, and he didn't realize it. So I guess you realize it later that you're poor, or when other kids start, giving you a hard time.
And some of the other hospitals besides CHOP, you know, were more like at Shriners and St. Christopher's. A lot of
God.
those parents couldn't afford it. So if we didn't get them a toy, they might not have had a Christmas.
And those are some sad situations.
Yeah. And we filled up their room. You couldn't even walk. So now they said, thanks to you, every kid's going to get a birthday gift.
And what do the kids' faces look like?
Oh my God, smiles, just smiles. Like there's pictures of them holding teddy bears. The parents write us letters. I mean, it just takes their mind off their illness, you know, even for a day.
And it is again, second time I said it's God's work. I mean, this is it. This is like you're blessed to do this
I
kind
say
of
my
stuff.
prayers every single day. You
And
know,
then you look at your children and you say, they're but for fortune or whatever the expression is.
Yeah. We count our blessings. We really
it,
do. I'm
right.
wearing a blessing bracelet. So every day I have to be grateful and count 4 blessings. So I do that.
Well, we count we count our blessings here also, and I'm happy that you were on the show. But there's only one thing left to say.
What's
Just one
that,
thing.
Ellen?
That's a wrap. Good night,
That's a
folks.
wrap.